This is 5 Minute Feng Shui podcast episode 155. Fire, the element of success, joy, and happiness. Welcome to the 5 Minute Feng Shui podcast, where each week I talk about how to move energy and make money. You'll learn how to create a prosperous home and an abundant life using classical Chinese Feng Shui. I'm your host, Katie Weber, publisher of the Red Lotus Letter, Feng Shui Easing for Wealth. Each week, I'll cover Feng Shui topics that can help you improve your life, share inspiring stories, and always end with 3 easy-to-implement Feng Shui tips that you can put to work right away, and usually in about 5 minutes. Now let's get started on the 5 minutes that could change your life. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of 5 Minute Feng Shui, where we're going to talk all about fun things, feng shui. And the fun really gets started with a single element, and that element is fire. We're going to talk a lot about fire today and what it means to you, how to use fire energy, and all the things that it brings to us, which are many, besides obviously cooking our food, keeping us warm. Those are kind of essential. But before we get started, I want to talk about the Year of the Tiger. It is coming up in 2022. February 1st is actually the first day of Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year, and it is the official date when we change over to the Year of the Tiger. Now, this year has got lots of things going on. It is going to be, I would say, hills and valleys, because we've got a doubling effect. All the stars are going back to their original home locations, and that has a lot of meaning in a lot of places. And we've got some new energy that is going to come in and create a whole new wave of a feeling, a way of being, and hopefully restock our store shelves. So I'm excited about that. But we also have, as always, a fly in the ointment. And this year I am so excited about talking about the Year of the Tiger and what all it's going to bring and the transformation that's going to come. So a lot of things to talk about in the Year of the Tiger. I will be doing a podcast episode on that, so be looking for it. And hopefully you will sign up for my success pack that should be coming out at the end of the month. I like to try to do it at Black Friday, but you know, you just never know how the creative process goes. Sometimes it goes great, and other times it's rolling that rock up a grease hill. You can just bet that you're going to get lots of great information about the Year of the Tiger, and I can't wait to share it with you. And one of the reasons I mentioned the Year of the Tiger is because we are coming up to a point now where we are changing over to the Lunar New Year. And that means a new energy. But here's the cool thing about the Year of the Tiger. The tiger is a wood element. Even though we're going to have a water energy year, it is intrinsically a wood element animal. And within it creates the seed of fire, because what? Wood is the mother of fire. So we have some good things to be thinking about. And I want you to be thinking about that as you're listening to today's podcast all about fire. Now, let's jump in. Fire is the element, that relates to joy and happiness. But when it comes to feng shui, we're talking about 2 major elements, and that is the element of water and the element of fire. Now, in feng shui thought, if you take it way back, fire and water also are representations of yin and yang energy. The fire is yang and the water is yin. Now, the importance of water, everyone talks about water in feng shui, and we all know how important it is to have our goldfish and have our fountains and have some wavy patterns in our upholstery or curtains and that kind of thing. But too often we overlook the element of fire, and fire is an essential element. We know that, right? It keeps us warm. We can live without fire. Fire is the sun. It's the yang energy of heat. Without that heat, we'd be cold and we have raw food all the time. We'd be back in the caveman days. But we also know that fire can also cause serious damage, like a house burning down or raging wildfires like we often see out in the American West. Many times when we talk about fire, I want to make a really important distinction, and that is light and fire are different. Even though you can say a lamp is of the fire element. It is, but it's a yin fire. It's not an actual flame. And in fact, one gentleman one time asked me what the difference between light and fire is. And I said, well, completely different. You can put a piece of paper on a lamp or a bulb, a bare light bulb, all day long, and it might scorch. But if you have even the smallest little spark or birthday candle that has an actual flame, you can burn down everything, and it can catch everything alight. So the actual element of the flame is really important. So if you've got a fireplace or a gas stove with an actual flame element somewhere, then this is, you always want to look at where they are, because it's so important that fire is not just let go. We have, it has to be, we need to have some of it, but it needs to be controlled. So important, because we know we see all those raging wildfires that we see every year that happens. And sadly, it seems like they're becoming more common, unfortunately. But fire brings a lot of benefits, especially in feng shui and Asian thought. Now, think about the happy, wonderful times that are always celebrated with the color red. That's because the color of fire is red, and that red color activates. It's effectively turning the power on to wherever it's used or placed. If you put red in somewhere around something, it's going to excite the eyes. Using red the right way can bring all kinds of feng shui benefits, like material rewards. This is different than money. This is the trappings of success. Yes, and when I say trappings, and I mean the trapping in the best possible way. The nice car, the pretty jewelry, the pretty house, the nice furnishings. Also things like recognition, fame, pleasure, and happiness. Fire is actually the element that relates to the sense of touch. So you know how it feels like the first time you hold hands with somebody, or the first time you kiss somebody. That sensation it lights your heart aflame. And this is the element that also relates to the eyes and heart. So many times if the fire element is a little out of whack, somebody might have high blood pressure, they may have heart problems, heart fibrillation, or they could have problems with their eyes, difficulty with redness in their eyes, or other kind of, eye issues. So, aside from that, the other things that we were talking about, those material rewards, recognition, social status, how people look at you and view you. This is a really wonderful part about fire, and it brings lots of enjoyment. I mean, who's ever sat around a campfire and said, sitting around a campfire sucks, I hate s'mores? Nobody says that. Fire's great. It's absolutely fantastic. We love it. As a matter of fact, just last weekend, Tim and I went out and bought a big fire pit and put it together. Very excited about that, because our son, oh my gosh, he loves a fire. And I will tell you, you can sit in a hot bath or you can sit around a fire, and both are just as relaxing. In my mind, I always get so mellow and relaxed when I sit around fire. And it gives you that sort of cozy, loving feeling, does it not? I mean, fireplaces are romantic. There's no doubt about it. Well, let's talk about fire element and how it is the element of success and happiness. Now, water in feng shui is to wealth that fame is to fire. But the negative side about water is the fear that it can bring. Metal is sadness and grief and loss, but water can represent fear. It can make people pull back, because just think about it. If you ever get water on you in the wintertime, you shiver and you pull in. So people sort of shrink back. But fire is the element of happiness, pure and simple. And that red color of fire. So if you've been down, use red colors to lift up your spirits. Just think of all those red lanterns and red envelopes at the Chinese New Year and how festive they look. They're absolutely so beautiful. And a house that has a touch of red, every house needs a touch of red. Besides, we also know that red as an activator is a good way to help you move, especially if you feel stuck or stagnant. So add some red color to your home. Try some red decorations for all the happy occasions, or just when you feel happy. But one warning is we have the 5-star that is going to be the reigning star next year. And red is not the color that we want in the center of our home. It normally is, but not this year. So, or when I say this year, I mean the next year in 2022 coming up. Let's talk about the element of fire and your love life. So whether you're single or in a relationship, fire can kickstart your relationship if it's cooled down or heat up a new one. You can activate the Southwest love sector with beautiful crystals and bright lights. Always keep the Southwest really nicely lit. It's one way that kind of boosts the woman of the house, and it keeps relationships happy because they're warm and they're bright. Think of chandeliers. They are one of the best ways that you can activate your southwest corner. Now in the bedroom, you can add a red candle or a lamp with a red shade in your southwest corner of your bedroom, and it will be excellent activating for your romance, and activating also helps those love relationships that you have deepen, and it helps ignite that corner for singles who are looking for someone. Now, if you're a single, you really should wear red. I know little black dress. My feeling is little black dress makes you fade into the background. Ask any painter, and they will tell you wherever you use black, it creates a shadow, and you don't want to be a shadow. You want to stand out. And let me tell you, nothing gets eyes on you like the red color does. So if you're single, don't hide in dark and moody colors. Get on out there with something bright, and especially something red. It makes your complexion. I don't know of a woman's complexion that doesn't glow with red. Absolutely beautiful. Now let's talk about fame and recognition luck. The south corner is the corner of social luck, which also governs that fame and recognition kind of thing. So when you want to have more recognition, maybe boost your status, maybe even attract some friendships, maybe you're kind of low on the friendship zone, this is the area where you want to always add some red color, even some flames, like red candles. Now, the only time you don't want to do that is if there's the 5 yellow or the 2 black star. These are earth stars, and wherever the 2 and 5 earth stars fly each year, whatever sector they fall in, you definitely don't want to activate it with fire or red color, because it's going to actually create problems for you, serious problems. So we always want to avoid those earth afflictions. Now, let's talk about how to pump up that fame luck. And if you own a home and you have a garden or a yard, lighting is one of the best things that you can do in a garden, and especially lighting that comes from the ground up, or lighting that's pointed up at the house. It's really potent. Now, in the living room, you can have a bright light shining in the south corner of recognition and social status and material success. But for a powerful boost to your fame and recognition, create a candle garden with 9 red votive candles and place them in the south corner of your living room. Light them once a day, being careful, of course, not to leave them unattended. There's my legal disclaimer. They don't have to burn all day. But if you just burn them once a day, just even briefly for a few minutes, it's a really nice ritual to use at the new moon in particular. And obviously, don't forget to boost your fame look by wearing red often. I also like to wear red undies, especially when I feel like I need a little boost, and it's only for me to know. This is one of those things that I think everybody needs some red undies in their drawers. Or red drawers in their drawers. Anyhow, so get yourself some red underwear if you go on a date, or if maybe you're interviewing for a job. It's not too colorful, and no one's going to know you have it on, but you will, and you'll feel energized. So I really like that idea of wearing red underwear, especially when you're in an interview situation. Now let's talk about how to burn through some money and health problems with fire. Now, if you've got a bathroom or a toilet that's in your health corner of the east or the wealth corner, these are the north or the southeast, you can put some red objects in your bathroom, like a red candle, or some red colored decorative items, even red towels, what the heck. The fire energy from that red color will help hold down the bathroom's pressure on your health and wealth luck. And so this is a really good way to add a little bit of that fire element, just a little bit, like I was saying, you don't have to light those candles all day long. And in your bathroom, you don't have to have a whole bunch of candles, just one red candle will do the trick. So it's a nice way to hold down those problems, especially if you have the if you have a bathroom in your wealth or health areas. Now that's, when I say wealth, again, that's the wealth, that's the north, which is your career, or the southeast, or in the health areas. All right, now let's talk about energizing your finances. I cannot say enough great things about a red handbag and a red wallet. Those are just quintessential energizers for women. I know when I carry a red handbag, I feel like I notice it more. I don't feel like someone's as likely to steal it because red is a protective color. Think of red as something hot. You know how a stove might have those coils that glow red when they're really hot? You would not touch that, right? So actually, when you have a red wallet or a red handbag, it's one way to protect yourself because it says it's bright, it's activated, it's saying stay away to people who might want to steal it. Whereas somebody can, because it's hard to hide a red handbag, isn't it? Let's say somebody, grabs your handbag and they're trying to tuck it under their arm. You're going to notice that from a mile off. You wouldn't notice a brown or black handbag as much, but you would sure notice if some guy was walking away with your beautiful red handbag. It's just a nice color to add. Plus, a wallet really energizes and the money that's in it when it's red. I always tell this story. My Aunt Katie was a very wealthy woman. I was named for her. Surprise, surprise. And she always carried a red wallet, no matter what. And nowadays, my checkbook cover, it's red. My wallet, it's red. My purses, lots of them, red or bright colors. I just like them. And here's another thing when it comes to being protective, as well as energizing. When you go on a vacation somewhere, one of the best colors that you can like, if you want to mark your luggage, you know how some people will tie ribbons to them and that kind of thing. Red. If you can get red luggage, all the better. Red luggage is great. It's protective. It's energized, and it might get you some social invitations you might not otherwise have when you're going on vacation. If you've got a black bag, tie a bright red ribbon to it. This will, one, help you to find it, tell others, nope, that's not yours, and it's also protective as well. So red is a great thing to have on luggage and in your handbag. It's just good all around stuff. So let's talk about your home and igniting good luck chi. If you feel like your home is kind of lifeless and stagnant, you can just put the jumper cables to it by adding lots of lighting. You can kickstart any kind of dead energy, because if you've got dead energy in your house, it's only going to get bigger and more dead. It's the truth. Yin energy has a way of continuing to be yin. So, I mean, let's go back to who was it? Sir Isaac Newton. He said a thing in motion stays in motion. He means that once something's going in one direction, it's going to stay that direction until you act on it by an outside force. And that outside force, in your instance, would be to add red color and lighting in your home to lift it up. It's why realtors say turn all the lights on your home. It activates it, and it's one of the best and easiest ways to sell your house is by turning on every single light in your house. I under cabinets, night lights, the overhead lights, the lamps, everything should be turned on. And in fact, my mom had a house for sale. We were visiting when we were living in Austin. We had gone. She lived down on the coast. And we were going to visit her, but her house was for sale. They wanted to move closer to town, and her house had been for sale, and they'd had a few looks, but no offers yet. And they were getting a little despondent. And we were visiting from Austin, and they got a call that they had a showing. And my mom said, okay, well, we all need to get out of the house at 2:00 or whatever it was. And before we were leaving, I was like, Mom, what are you doing? And I said, you going to turn the lights on? She goes, what do you mean? And I said, you got to turn all the lights on. She said, what are you talking about? I said, yeah, every light in the house. Turn every single light on, everywhere, in the bathroom, in the closet, under the stove, under the vent hood, everywhere. And so we proceeded to go around and turn the lights on in every single place. By 4:00 that afternoon, they had an offer. So it makes a difference. When you want to lift energy, that's one of the best way. Just turn on the lights. It's hard to be sort of morbid and morose if you are in a brightly lit and vibrant feeling home. It really lifts that sort of stuck and stagnant feeling. And the other thing is, if your home is sort of feeling lackluster and lifeless, adding those bright lights will help to kind of bring back and get you out of that sort of energetic rut. So let's talk about anger. Now, red fire, you would think that fire would create anger, and it kind of can when it gets out of control. However, most of the time, anger is governed by the element of wood. And this is why we often have holiday tables where arguments break out, because family is represented by the wood element. And this is where everybody gets to talking and carrying on. And this is where red can come in and save the day. And I tell you this as we are approaching the holiday season here in 2021, because if you have family members who are going to be coming over and there's some, there's always, some kind of hurt feelings, or somebody's in a testy mood or that kind of thing. There's always one, you know who I'm talking about. But when there's anger or harsh words in the house, one of the easiest ways to soften that and to help burn through it is to literally burn through it with the color red. So I always like to have candles or red colors in the living room. You can put red cushions out on the sofas. You can add candles at your dining table. I really love dining by candlelight, especially in the holidays, because it helps to burn through some of the emotions and some of the anger and just people being maybe stuffed into into close quarters. You never know. Now, there's another element that can be at work, and it relates to the annual and monthly movement of energies. And there is it's called the 3 jade star, and it's an element of wood. And wherever that star goes, all kinds of problems ensue. It can be, we call it the 3 argument star, because arguments start around it. It's mouthy, it's spiteful, it's bitter. It's just a troublesome star. And sometimes, at the worst thing, it can create divorce, and it can create legal problems. So we really don't want to go poking that bear. And one of the ways you manage the 3 jade star of anger is to put red colors wherever it is, because it burns through that wood element. So let's talk about where it is. In 2021, it's in the Southwest. This is where it's been all year long, in the year of the ox, and making women really tired. So if you've had an unusual amount of fatigue this year, whether that's mental or emotional or physical fatigue, that's why. And you're going to feel so much better in 2022. Now, next year, in the year of the tiger, the 3 jade star moves to the east in its home. It's going to be stronger there. So families really have to be on guard for disagreements and make your absolute level best to go along to get along, right? And this is something we're just all going to have to deal with. And we all have to deal with this next year coming up. So we really want to manage that. This is one of those things that can sometimes get families to sue each other, argue over wills, argue over possessions, argue over you name it. And some of the just dumb things that we get into arguments about with families. Now let's talk about in 2023, it moves to the southeast. It's also going to be real happy there too. Not quite as happy as it is in 2022 in the east corner of family. So if there's a potential, there's the seed and the potential for growth in this in your family. It's for anger or problems. And this also applies to the oldest son in particular. So you just have to look for it. Now, I want to say the other side of the coin with this is that all stars have a good and bad side. The good stars are not all good. The bad stars are not all bad. And here's where I think the 3 star is helpful. And I don't know if women feel this way, but I do. This year, with the 3 star in the sector of women, it's made me very reflective about what's important to me, what I want to do more of, what I don't want to do more of. And it's made me really appreciate and think about growth and personal growth and what that means to me. So the 3 star actually has that opportunity for growth. So even though it's kind of a negative Nelly, it has its bonuses too. Let's talk about fire correcting problems. Fire and lighting are a great way to counter like poison arrows or missing corners. So for instance, if you have a L-shaped house and you've got like a big missing corner, if you put a light pole where that corner would have been, this will help to dissolve some of that, or it will help to symbolically create that corner. And so it's a really nice thing to add there. The other thing is if you have a neighbor's house that's kind of angled funny and the corner of the house is aimed at your front door or something like that, keeping light on is another way to help dissolve that poison arrow that's kind of pointing at you. Fire is a great way to correct problems, and especially like I was talking about anger problems or families not getting along like that. Red is also good to help with your mind, your thoughts. Everyone feels a little mentally dull from time to time. Or do you not have that problem? It just happens. You're like, what? I don't know. There was a Seinfeld episode with Elaine, and they were, it was called the Master of My Domain episode. And they were talking about, some things that they were going to not do and how it made people stupid or better or smarter. And Elaine was looking at those revolving tires that are outside of tire stores that look like they're balancing on one edge. And she was just staring at them like, how does it do that? Anyway, I've had that tire staring kind of moment from time to time. I'm sure you have too. Well, let's talk about how you can get that out of that rut and get your mind snapping and popping again. One of the ways you can do that is go to the northeast corner of your living room or your house and burn a candle there. Burning a candle, some incense, or adding bright lights or something that's red colored. This is a great way to activate your thinking, because this is your thinking mind, not your head. That's the northwest corner, but it's your thinking mind. Your thinking mind and the meditative qualities of wisdom and thinking are an earth element, and we want to foster that earth element. We add lighting, we add red colors, we add fire. A lava lamp in the northeast corner is a great activator for your thought and your intellectual processing, and just kind of giving you a good old mental shot in the arm. So it's a good way to activate your thinking. And it's also good if you have students, if you have someone going to school, a writer, in fact. Any writing and education are all covered under the northeast corner and the earth of the northeast corner element. All right. Lastly, use the power of 9 if you want to change things up in your life. So this number, the 9, remember that? The 9 is a magic number. When you need something to change, you can move 9 items in your home. You want something to really shift for yourself? Move 27 items. Why 27? Because 9 times 3 is 27. 2 and 7 is 9. And that means you get, and also the number 3 is important to the number 9 because it is the number of wood, and wood feeds fire. So if you do a factor like 9, fire element, by a factor of 3 makes 27, and 2 and 7 is 9. So we're back to that again. So change 9 things in your home. If you need big shifts, change 27. Now, your eye is a part of the body that relates to the fire element and the number 9. And sometimes we just have to see things differently. And if you can remove and change 9 images in your house, so move some pictures around, it makes you see things in a new way. If you've gotten into a rut, especially one where you're feeling a little despondent or maybe a little depressed, moving those 9 photographs can make a difference, because after a while, our eyes kind of start ignoring our surroundings. But if something's out of place, we immediately notice it. And that's what we need to do, is call up that attention and call up our visual attention, because our eyes are directly related to our heart, and our heart leaps for joy or it's sad. And if you can change the look and create an environment where it's stimulated, your eyes are stimulated, it's going to stimulate your heart for more joy. And that's what, in the end, everybody wants more of. All right, well, let's talk about those 3 tips. As always, I want to leave you with today, and that is when you want to revitalize your feelings or get a head start on a job interview or a date, wear some red underwear, wear some red clothes. Always a good way to have just a little extra activation and give you a little bit more energy. The other thing that we want to think about is boost your love life with fire. Put a beautiful chandelier in the southwest corner, or a beautiful lamp with crystals. You can also add red colors or a candle there to help boost your love life, especially if you're single. But it's also good if maybe things have gotten a little routine in your love life with your sweetheart. Adding a candle and some red colors there is a nice way to get it reactivated. And then don't forget about activating that fame and recognition luck. I really love adding red colors and lighting in the south corner of your home. And it's really good in your garden, especially if you have anything there that you can light up. Maybe some trees in the south portion of your garden, or maybe you have some landscaping stones or boulders. Have some lights that shine up. Have a beautiful urn, and at night I have a spotlight that shines up on it, and it's always there every night, all night. This is a great thing to add to your garden. Always add lighting to your garden, because it is a way to activate your garden, and especially in the south corner, it can activate your fame, recognition, material success, and those wonderful feelings of joy and happiness. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of 5 Minute Feng Shui. Thanks for being with me today. Go light up your life. I wish you joy, happiness always. I'll talk to you next week. You know, the year of the tiger is coming, and I can't wait to talk with you about what all is in store. We have a clean sweep, a transformational year of water energy with the water tiger in 2022. That means big change is coming. No longer will we have the stricture and constriction of the metal years that we've just come out of with COVID and the pandemic. We have got a clean sweep of energy coming in next year, and I can't wait to tell you all about it in my 2022 Year of the Tiger Feng Shui Forecast and Success Pack. Stay tuned right here for a release date that's coming soon.